Good morning. My name is Miss Tia Livian. I am attached to Peters Hall Primary School and have been teaching for the past 4 years. I started my teaching profession at the grade 1 level, then was placed at grade 2 before the worldwide coronavirus outbreak. After the pandemic passed, I was then placed at grade 5 and then to grade 4, which was my previous class, and will be at grade 3 when school reopens. During this presentation, I interviewed two primary school pupils, two secondary school students, two parents, and a psychologist. My interview will begin with my two primary school pupils that were interviewed. All right, so I'm on to my first primary school student that will be answering two questions for me this afternoon. Now, she is currently from a school in Region 4 at the grade 6 level. The two questions are one, what are some bad behaviors you have seen amongst the children within your school do? Again, I'll ask you the question, what are some bad behaviors you have seen amongst the children in your school do? And the second question is, how do teachers and those in authority respond to those behaviors? How do teachers deal with those behaviors? Or how do your HM deal with those behaviors?
For question one, some of the bad behaviors I see the children in my school do, they fight and they litter on the school compound. For question two, how would a teacher deal with it? The teacher would let the children clean up the compound or call their parents and let them know.
So for the second student, this is also a primary school student within Region 4, and I'll be asking her the same questions I previously asked the first primary school student. Now, question one, what are some common behaviors you see children in your school doing? Or let me say some bad behaviors. What are some bad behaviors you have seen children in your school do? Question two follows question one. So, question two is, how do teachers and those in authority respond to those behaviors? Now, I basically mean, how do teachers deal with those behaviors? And if teachers cannot deal with those behaviors, the people in authority would be the HMs, like the headmistresses or the headmasters. How do they also deal with the issue?
A bad behavior that I have seen in my school were kids writing up on the wall with pencils. They would write very inappropriate things. They would write people names. Sometimes when people go into the washroom, they will see it, and sometimes they feel insecure about themselves. Yeah. Well, I don't really know if teachers could deal with the situation because they don't know who do it. But when they find out, they end up they got some builders, these construction workers, to redo the washroom for the girls. It's most like the girls' washroom. Yeah. So they redid it, but children still went and write more things in it. So that's how they deal with the behavior.
Okay, good afternoon. This is my first secondary school student I will be interviewing. Her school is found in Region 4. Now, I'm going to ask you two questions this afternoon. The first question is, what are some deviant behaviors you have observed among the school children in your school? And you might ask yourself, what do I mean by deviant? I mean bad behaviors then. What are some bad behaviors you have noticed amongst the children in your school? And the second question is, how do teachers and those in authority respond to those behaviors? For example, if a teacher cannot handle it, the persons in authority might be the HM. How can they handle the situations?
Two deviant behaviors I have noticed in my secondary school are as follows: bullying and lack of discipline. Now, if the situation cannot be dealt with by teachers or the head mistress, this can be taken to higher authority, which includes the welfare officers, and from there, they can offer relevant assistance.
So this is my second secondary school student who is also a student in fifth form school from Region 4. Today I'll be asking you two questions. The first question is, what are some deviant behaviors you've noticed amongst the children in your school? You might ask yourself what the word deviant means. It's simple. What are some bad behaviors you have noticed amongst the children within your school? And the second question is, how do teachers and those in authority respond to those behaviors? How do they treat them? What do they do?
Two deviant behavior I have noticed in my secondary school were gambling and smoking. Most times the teacher and the headmistress would handle the situation in the HM office, but sometimes it would need higher authority to be taken care of, such as the welfare or the police.
Okay, so I'm on to my first parent that I'll be asking the first question to. Now, parent, share what schools can do to maintain social control. My question to you is, share what schools can do to maintain social control.
Good day, my name is Rasley Ferguson. As a parent, my opinions and recommendation for schools wanting to maintain social control is to first put up signs in key areas easily accessible to students so that they could see, have visuals and read rules in relation to the school policy. I also recommend that announcements be made at general meetings, PTA meetings, and also assemblies in the morning so that students and parents could be informed of the rules and policies of the school. Also, I recommend that all violators of the school rules and policy be displayed in a public setting so that people could be know that people are being punished for their disobedience of the school rule, so that people could see examples, students could see examples and follow heed that there are strict necessary measurements that are being put in place to ensure the enforcement of the school rules. Thank you.
To my second parent, I'll go ahead and ask you the same questions I would have asked parent one. And the question is, what do you think schools can do to maintain social control? Again, I repeat the question, what do you think schools can do to maintain social control?
So for me, I think that certain privileges should be taken away because lashes don't help all children. Some children would get lashes all the time, but they still won't listen. So I think like during lunchtime, you should keep them in the classroom. Allow them to eat the lunch, yes, but they won't be able to go outside and play with everybody else because they're not acting like everybody else, they're misbehaving. So I would say they should be take away certain privileges from them.
Okay, so these are my two questions I will be asking my psychologist. One, what are some causes for deviant behavior in children? And two, what can be done in the school to help these children and the types of support available beyond the school gate for deviants.
A pleasant day to all. I am Akash Prasad, an education officer and psychologist by profession, and today I'll be answering some questions posed by Ms. Tia. And the first question reads, what are the causes of deviant behaviors in children? There can be multiple causes of deviant behaviors in children, and some of what I feel may include the genetical makeup of the individual, as behavioral problems can be inherited from parents or extended family members. Secondly, the family environment. So we're talking about the nurturing of the children. Negative family dynamics, domestic violence, poor parental supervision, substance abuse, or neglect can contribute to deviant behaviors in children. Thirdly, and this one I believe strongly, and this holds a strong hold on shaping that behavior, is the social factors, which includes peer pressure and influence, exposure to violence and crime, or living in poverty-stricken areas. Mental health. Children with mental health and behavioral disorders such as ADHD, depression, anxiety, or conduct disorder may exhibit deviant behavior patterns. Also, we have trauma. Exposure to abuse, neglect, or significant life events like a divorce or a loss of life can lead to deviant behaviors in children. And the last one I want to talk about is the lack of positive reinforcement. For example, when children do not receive enough positive reinforcement or attention, they may act out in negative ways to garner attention or feel validated. The second question reads, what can be done in school to help children with deviant behavioral patterns? I think it's critical that early detection and intervention is made. Hence, schools should have programs in place to detect and intervene early with deviant behaviors. Teachers and school staff should be trained to recognize early warning signs and refer students to appropriate support services. Hence, counseling and therapy should be available to students so it can assist them in working through their emotional and behavioral issues that may be contributing to their deviant behaviors. Also, it may be a bit unorthodox or westernized, but schools can implement a positive behavior reinforcement program where this is a system of positive reinforcement to reward or reinforce positive behavior and positive behavior only. And this can be something as small as a praise, a recognition, a reward, or even an incentive for good conduct. Also, we are existing in a time where children cling to their friends very strongly. Hence, we can have peer support groups. Develop peer support groups or mentoring programs where deviant children can connect with their peers who may have overcome similar behavioral challenges. This can provide a sense of belonging, guidance, and support. And of course, they'll get to see that, I can make it out of this also, that this does not define me. As much as I can go on to list other activities or programs that can be implemented, it is important to remember that each child's needs are unique and a holistic and individualized approach is necessary to effectively address deviant behavior in schools and with children especially. And finally, the last part of that question reads, what are the types of services available to children with deviant behavioral patterns out of school? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Counseling and therapy. Mental health professionals such as psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, counselors, or even social workers can provide individual or group therapy sessions to address the underlying emotional, behavioral, or psychological issues contributing to the deviant behavior. Here is where we will have a look for the root cause of the problem, also inviting the family members to be a part of the session, having them engage in family therapy and counseling so that we can have a holistic summation of the diagnosis or even so prognosis if medications may be necessary. Also, community-based programs. There might be community-based programs that specifically caters for deviant children. These programs often include recreational activities, mentorship, life skill training, and opportunities for positive social engagement, such as they may be able to participate in a sport or two, playing games, or even join the sports clubs. They can be involved in art programs or even join a youth organization where they can give back to their community through volunteerism. Also, at their disposal would be social services. These social service agencies and organizations offers a range of assistance for deviant children and their families, and these include case management, social work support, and referrals to appropriate services. And this may also include financial assistance for those services to be completed. And finally, support groups. These children have access to support groups or peer led programs that provide a space for deviant children to connect with others who have had similar experiences. These groups may focus on specific issues such as substance abuse, anger management, or specific behavioral disorders. It was nice chatting with you all. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Miss Livin.